So let's talk about yesterday's basketball. As there was a lot of games yesterday, and we got to see many different teams play each other. Get to compete and really be able to show off their skills yesterday. As we saw, teams which hadn't faced each other before in the season, now actually facing each other for the first time. And let's talk about it. So today I want to talk about four games, and I'm just gonna go, and just start to not take up too much time. So first, I want to talk about this Lakers and Kings game. This Lakers and Kings game was amazing. It was a real back and forth versus two great teams. And honestly, the Lakers had a pretty bad game. They weren't that good. Their best thing was the rebounding, if we're being 1,000% honest. They really got their stuff together when it comes to rebounding. But apart from that, their defense was not great. Their efficiency was not great at all. And honestly, the reason why this game was so close was mostly due to the fact that the top two from the Lakers just went absolutely hammer in this game. And we could see this with Anthony Davis having 30 points on 50% shooting for everything. He made 7 free throws out of 8. He had 16 rebounds, 6 offensive rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, and 3 blocks. Anthony Davis had an absolute monster game. And if we're being honest, Anthony Davis really, this game looked great. The only thing that I would have asked for him was more crunch time production. But honestly, when you have LeBron James on your team, that may not be the biggest of your concerns. Then, obviously, we have LeBron James, 27 points, 8 assists, and 15 rebounds. The only thing that I will say is that he had 8 turnovers, and I think that's going to be a problem for LeBron. Also another thing that I want to talk about is that he made 2 out of his 6 free throws. It's obvious that LeBron is playing great. He from the field looks unstoppable, but like when it comes to everything else, it looks like he's struggling on some important things. Like been getting a lot of turnovers. And honestly, even though this game he played out of his mind, I do want to see that improve from him. The Lakers played well, and I want to shout at the worst guy on the team, Austin Reeves. He made 1 shot and shot 12 of them, 8 of them being threes. He made 1 3 in the entire game and scored 5 points off of 1 3 and 2 free throws, and still managed to play 28 minutes. So yeah. Anyway, the other team is the Kings, obviously. The winners of this game. De'Aaron Fox has just been on a tear. He dropped 37 points, 8 assists, 4 rebounds, And I want to, Keegan Murray played pretty well, especially down the stretch. And Sabonis, obviously, with those 15 rebounds, 5 assists, 12 points, extremely efficient. Shout out to the Kings for winning this game. They were just better, and they shot much better from every percentage. And also, they just had the better game. The next game I want to talk about is Milwaukee versus Atlanta. In this game, what I really want to highlight was the fact that Damian Lillard just had a stinker game. And I honestly just want to say that because I want to get people's head in the fact that not every game is going to be great for this team. Even though they are going to dominate, I do want to use this as an example. Like, Damian Lillard had 6 points. Giannis had 26 points, 11 rebounds, 3 assists, right? And then Damian Lillard had 6 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists with 6 turnovers. Giannis had a pretty great game and shot 80% from the free throw line, but these two guys are not always going to be hitting. And in my opinion, this might be a problem later for the Bucks. Damian Lillard and Giannis, they have to merge, and this team really has to start working together to set the tone for the future. And with these people always being, these two players being so ball dominant and being so important to their team, it matters that they find themselves, really in sync. Because if Damian Lillard and Giannis are losing game to the Hawks, how are they going to win a series against a team like the Heat or the Sixers or the Celtics? But apart from that, that's all I had to say about that. When it comes to the Hawks, they just had a phenomenal game. They almost shot 50, 40, 90. They shot 51, 41, 82, rounding. I'm rounding. And yeah, they just had a great game, and I want to say that honestly, the Bucks cannot have that stinker of a game, especially against the mid Hawks which have lost 2 games and won one. The next game I want to talk about is probably the most interesting of this day, which is the Warriors versus the Rockets. I can't believe this was a close game, if I'm being honest. Like, the Warriors shot 40% from three. That already should be conducive to wins. And the Rockets shot 27% from three and 38% from the field. The only thing that I really feel like kept this game close, more than anything, was just the Rockets put up so many shots. Like, if we're being honest, they put up so many shots, which it was just, like they put up 90 shots, the Warriors 89 in the total, no, 81 in the total game. Steph Curry had himself a hell of a fourth quarter. He had a pretty silent game, but when it came to the fourth quarter, he embarrassed Dillon Brooks. And in my opinion, when it comes to the Rockets, even though they lost, I do see the foundation of them almost beating this team as something that is great for them as a team and their morale. Also, I want to say shout out to Alper Sengun, because he played great. He had 19.7 rebounds, 5 assists. The only thing that I want to talk about here, which I really liked, was the lineup that they ran up there. Draymond Green, they ran him, and they ran Chris Paul off the bench. And in my opinion, that was pretty cool. Draymond was one of the only 2 players in the starting lineup which had a positive plus minus, which is pretty cool to see. But anyway, apart from that, I do want to say that Chris Paul should have probably gotten more minutes, because he was a plus 22 this game, and he didn't even have that impressive counting stats. Last game I want to talk about is the Philadelphia 76ers versus Blazers. I just think that both these teams are just so, interesting. With the Sixers, it's just their players have to go extra crazy just to win. Like in this game, Tyrese Maxey had 26 and 10. He had 10 rebounds this game. He had 26.7 rebounds for assists. He on great efficiency from three, and great efficient, and didn't miss a single free throw. Embiid dropped 35 points, 15 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals, and 6 blocks, shooting 50% from three and like 60% from the field. Embiid went hammer. That's mostly why I wanted to talk about this game. And also, Tobias Harris played great, dropping 24 points. Now, what I do want to say from this game is that it is impressive the fact that they played this great, right? And the fact that their bench is so bad. That's, in my opinion, is the biggest revealer for Philly, and I do think they have to work. For the for the Blazers, I want to say that shout out to DeAndre Ayton for completely missing on the expectation that we had for him. I know it's too early into the season, but he's averaging 8 points, and he's played 3 games. And no one on this team is scoring enough points to beat good teams or to beat any teams, because right now they haven't won a single game. So in my opinion, when you're getting played, right, when you're going out there, and when Camera is playing better than you, well, he's playing more minutes than you and playing better than you, then you have a problem. I think that Ayton has to say to his coach, I want more minutes, because why are you trying to preserve a young guy who's supposed to shine in your system? Now, with that being the case, I know he can't guard Embiid, so take it or leave it. Shout out to Shaedon Sharpe, and I now want to see Scoot Henderson play better. With all these games that happened today, we had a pretty interesting run, and honestly, I want to say that the NBA right now is probably in the most exciting state that it's been in a while. There doesn't seem to be a team which doesn't have something really interesting to show. Even the most boring team, a team like the Hornets has LaMelo. A team like the Pacers has Tyrese. A team like even the Nets, which are considered one of the most boring teams in the league when it comes to play style. Not when it comes to play style, when it comes to their players, has like a Cam Thomas, which is averaging the most points by a starter with a minimum of 7 games in NBA history. And in my opinion, it feels like every single team has something to focus on. And I do want to say shout out to Luka Doncic for averaging 41 points, 11.5 rebounds, and 9 assists. Because honestly, this season has been incredible, and I can't wait to keep watching this season of NBA basketball. I know that you probably are watching too, and we'll talk more in depth about these players and how their games turn out in the next video. I'll see you then. Peace.